What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the God Squad. We are live for another week of faith, fuckery, and foolishness. We are back here to see what is going on in the news. So, what's up, Dillon Desimber? The tattoo theologian is in the house. What's going on?
I think it's been a slow news week.
You think so?
I wish. My kingdom for a slow news week where crazy kakistocracy nonsense isn't happening every 4 minutes. It's dizzying to keep up with.
Every 4 minutes sounds about right. Every 4 minutes sounds about right. So what kind of craziness is happening in the news today? Well, we had what Trump want to call the 12-day war, which is not a thing. Because we never declared that we were at war with anybody. And we decided we'd jump off in the middle of somebody else's shit. So I don't know why they're calling it a 12-day war. Plus, it's not over.
Right. And Senator Chris Murphy was part of an intelligence briefing today. And he came out of that briefing saying, "It is clear to me that the president of the United States has been misleading the people of the United States when he keeps saying that the Iranian nuclear program has been obliterated." He said it looks like it's been set back a few months. And that is wildly different from obliteration.
That's wildly different than we completely destroyed. Didn't he say we completely destroyed their whatever it was, the 3 sites and the main site especially?
Yeah,
but he said we completely annihilated. He only got a handful of adjectives and words that he used, but the little handful that he used, that we completely destroyed it. Lies. And then apparently, what's up, Tracy? What's up, Judy? And then apparently, if you speak the truth or report the truth on the real status of what happened over there, you're scum.
Yeah. The Secretary of Defense, and I cannot believe that I have to say those words and attach them to Pete Hegseth's name,
Gotta do it.
Lost his damn mind over people reporting facts that came from the intelligence community in the administration.
In their own administration.
And reporters reported that, and he's losing his mind because it doesn't fit with the propaganda that the regime wants people to hear. I mean, this is straight up 1984 stuff. The newspeak that Orwell wrote about in that novel that is all too relevant today. And I just can't wait for politicians and reporters and journalists of every stripe to just hammer the shit out of these people and just be relentless. The propaganda's relentless. The pushback has to be relentless. And it's tiring. It's exhausting. But these fools are way beyond the pale now. Way beyond the pale with what's going on. And fun fact, the United States of America is the only nation in the history of humanity that has dropped nuclear bombs.
The only one. We're constantly accusing someone else of threatening to do so, or saying we're under the threat. Someone else is threatening us. By the way, did they say we did a preemptive defensive strike? I don't know what they're calling this. First of all, they had no idea, at least to our not best of our knowledge, they had no idea how far out Iran may or may not have been from a nuclear bomb. What we know for sure that they don't know is when, where, how, why, or for what reason they would have used that on the United States. So preemptive defensive strike on what and for what?
Yeah.
No, we are in the bed with Netanyahu as a country, trying to start a war. Two dictators, 2 clowns, trying to start a war so they could stay in power. Yeah. Start another war. Netanyahu's is already in one with what he's doing. And as far as Netanyahu goes, I actually believe this is a distraction because he has upped his genocidal mission on the Palestinians he is killing more and more Palestinians every day. And that is not getting as much attention as it has been because of all this crap that's going on with Iran.
Right. And
bombing the civilians more.
And Netanyahu's got a corruption trial.
Mm-hmm.
And guess who said that that it's a witch hunt and he needs to be pardoned?
Of course.
Because fascist crooks of a feather flock together. And Netanyahu's been saying that Iran was this close to a nuclear bomb for like 20 years. And he finally got a useful idiot in the White House that went along with it. And it's not making the world safer. It's not making the Middle East safer. And it sure as hell is not going to bring about the second coming. I mean, the number of people that I've seen on social media talking about, ooh, woohoo, the rapture's going to happen. The rapture's going to happen. It reminds me of the 1980s Christian comedian and satanic panic inducer, Mike Warnke, who used to joke about, our neighbors think we're stomping on the lawn, but we call it rapture practice.
Okay.
They would go out and he, the joke was that they would jump up and down practicing for the rapture. These folks, foreign policy is not something that should be dictated by 19th century theological innovations that have absolutely zero basis or grounding in the textual tradition or the Christian tradition. It's intellectual foolishness, and it's getting people killed.
It is getting people killed here and abroad.
Here and abroad.
Yeah, you have these Zionist right-wing lunatics that are in the Israeli government, and you have the Christian nationalist lunatics that are here in the United States government.
And then you've got the hardline Islamic faction that the people of Iran don't want in power. I've seen lots of posts about that too, but they've also said, we also don't want to be killed by your bombs.
Right. I mean, if we had to choose between them being in power and you dropping a bomb on us, we might choose life. At least we might live a little while under this clown. I don't know how far we'll live under you dropping bombs on our schools and our hospitals and wherever else they're dropping them on, because eventually they do target military sites, but it's only a matter of time before they have an accident. Israel has lots of accidents where a lot of civilians get killed, and it's just, we apologize, and then they move on, and then they do it again a couple months later. And, it just comes and goes. There's no accountability for it. Eventually, I believe there will be some accountability, but this could be 10, 15, 20 years down the line.
Right.
Eventually, I'm sure there'll be some accountability at some point when the dust settles and when all the reality of this comes out, because it eventually will. But this could be generations from now, like with apartheid, like with what happened in the Congo and places like that. It could be, or it could be generations from now before all that comes out.
Yeah. The idea that we're going to, or that Donald Trump is this great peacemaker is ludicrous. And then he claimed that there was a ceasefire, and then mere moments later, both countries are shooting missiles at each other. And then Trump drops an F-bomb live on TV and then tries to pretend that didn't happen.
Can you imagine if any other president did that?
I mean, I can remember
what the F they're doing.
Yeah, I remember when Ronald Reagan was in a cabinet meeting and the cameras picked him up saying sons of bitches. And it was a huge shock that a racist old white man let a profanity slip in a meeting. But Trump is whining on social media about he's not going to win the Nobel Peace Prize.
Why would
and his kids are whining that he's not going to get a Nobel Peace Prize. Don Jr. talked about it.
He wants one is because Obama got one.
Right, and Jimmy Carter got one too.
So, what kind of peace prize are you going to get? You're threatening to kill the president of somebody else's or prime minister, whatever they call, of somebody else's country. You've incited war. He has intentionally, in my book, and diabolically kept Ukraine from being as victorious in the war against Russia as they could be, both in his previous administration and this one. And now he's stuck himself and this country in the middle of a war we had nothing to do with last week. What makes him think that he would ever be eligible for a damn Nobel Peace Prize? I don't understand the logic behind that.
Yeah, and what makes him think that anybody outside the United States that's not kissing his ring would nominate a felonious sexual predator who bragged about routinely sexually assaulting women?
I don't know. The delusion is real. And concerning the things that's going over there on around, did you see where Marco Rubio, they were asked him, well, do we have intel that they had a nuclear, that they were ready to? And he's like, that's not what's important. Excuse me? Right. That's the reason for going over there.
Yeah, forget the intelligence.
Trump campaign on no wars, on America first. That's one of the things he campaigned on.
Yeah, and this has been the strangest fucking timeline. I had to agree with Tucker Carlson recently when he went after Ted Cruz. And then this week, this just makes me feel real weird. I had to agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene, who absolutely went off on the president for lying and dragging us into a military conflict without congressional approval. And she was saying, this is not what we voted for. This is not the America First agenda.
She'll claw it back eventually. They all do.
They
all come out righteous until it's not benefiting them to be righteous. Then they claw it back. She'd be down there in Mar-a-Lago trying to apologize.
Oh, probably so. But if you lose Marjorie Taylor Greene from your MAGA movement, that bleach blonde, butch, bad built body, whatever her Royal Highness Jasmine Crockett said. Oh, I love that woman. If you're listening, Representative Crockett, I love you. You are an American hero, and I am here for you, calling out the fascist bullshit. And did you see that she went off because they were talking about deporting people and deporting, and she went off about Melania Trump?
Yes.
Oh,
that
yes.
was awesome. She went there. An Einstein visa, make that make sense. She's a model.
She's like,
how she do that?
You have to be like a Nobel laureate, some kind of Olympic medalist or whatever. And she goes, and she's a model, and we're not talking like Tyra Banks kind of level model here. I mean, she didn't slut shame her. She didn't, talk about sex work or nothing like that.
No.
She just said, look, this is a low level model here. This is not, we're not talking about Milan or Paris or whatever.
We're not Cindy Crawford. We're not talking about supermodel status ever. Okay.
Right.
Tracy Allen says she has a girl crush on Crockett. So do I, girl. So do I.
Yeah.
She's definitely my woman crush Wednesday or whatever you want to call it.
Woman crush Wednesday. I got one of them every day.
Yeah, she is that girl. She is that girl. So anyway, it's been a wild week. You see where lawmakers are trying to put out a law, and I hope that it gets through, where we are banning masked ICE agents. No secret police act. And I personally don't understand why this is legal. If I was a governor or a mayor, it already be something. Look, if you don't have a visible badge, if you don't identify yourself, it's illegal for you to pick up somebody off the street, because the danger in doing this is people posing as, which they already have been doing.
Oh yeah,
posing as ICE, kidnapping people, which they already have been doing. So if you don't have a standard whereby you're doing this, What's to keep anybody from pulling up, snatching folks off the street? You got your face covered up to here. You got sunglasses on. You got a cap on, and I'm just supposed to come with you?
Right.
Hell no. And it shouldn't be considered resisting arrest if you won't identify yourself as any kind of officer and identify that you have a right to take me. That's kidnapping. That's not arresting.
Right.
And I'm obligated to go with you and find out later who you are.
Yeah.
That should be illegal anyway.
I saw today that somebody said if you see something like that happening, you should call 911 immediately and report a kidnapping. Report a kidnapping, that there's somebody wearing a mask that is snatching people off the street, and get law enforcement in there and make them identify themselves.
They should
make them
themselves.
Yeah.
That is amazing. And if you thought what you were doing was so right, so legal, so righteous, what is your problem with identifying yourself?
Right. Exactly.
And how can you arrest anybody without a warrant anyway? The reason they don't want to be accountable is because the way they're going about it is illegal. They don't want to be accountable for pulling up on a group of brown people and just snatching them off the street because they're brown. Because how the hell do you know who they are before they identify themselves? If you're just rolling up on me, how you even know who I am? So if you just pull up on a farm, pull up at Home Depot, pull up at a Mexican restaurant and just start snatching folks, this is why you're masked up. This is why you don't want to use your ID. This is why you don't want to identify yourself, because the only justification you have for pulling up on a group of people without them identifying yourself and you identifying yourself is racial discrimination. Because how you know any of them people are legal or illegal? You don't even know their name.
Right. Yeah. I saw today on Threads, and I think this is very clever, using social media to push back against this stuff. It said wintry conditions have been reported in Scranton, PA, and I immediately went, it's 100 fucking degrees. What are they talking about? And then I saw the next line, and it had a emoji of an ice cube, and it said ice at these streets. So wintry conditions is the code
for ice.
And that's fantastic. I saw an American citizen was grabbed and roughed up by ICE and thrown to the ground and whatnot, and then they found out he's an American citizen, and then they just walked away.
I saw that, and I'm like, you shouldn't be able to do that, and left him there on the ground. Just left him there on the ground and walked away. Like you shouldn't be able to do that. You should have your shit in order before you pull up on somebody.
Yeah, and they should, and he should sue the hell out of him.
On him, except for he was brown.
Right.
Because you don't know who he is. So why you don't have what's your reasonable cause for pulling up on him? So after he says, I got an ID, it shows that you just walk away. Why'd you pull up on him in the first place?
Why are you touching people and just throwing people to the ground?
Why he on the ground? Why he on the ground? And then after you find out he's an American, you just walk away. That means you just only pulled up on him because he was brown.
Yeah.
You don't know who he is. You don't know him from Adam. You don't know what country he came from. You don't know whether he has legal or illegal status. You just pulled up, threw him on the ground. And then after the fact, he can prove that he's here legally. That's not how that shit's supposed to work.
Right. Now, an American citizen is here legally. No screaming eagle shit. Like, right. Come on.
Now, and I saw a video where they had did this to some Native Americans. Now, you know, some of our Native Americans and our indigenous folks and indigenous folks from South America, well, look a lot have a lot of the same characteristics, which makes sense because they're Native Americans too, just Native Americans from a different part of America, from the Americas. But apparently these folks were Native American coming from a reservation or something, and they pulled him over. That woman cussed him out. He would apparently ask her, is she a citizen? She's like, yeah, I'm a citizen. I'm a Native American citizen. Are you a fucking citizen? Are you a citizen? Do you have your papers? My people were I'm the first citizens. What are you? She went off. And I'm like, see, y'all gonna mess around and pull up on the wrong somebody. Pull up on the wrong somebody, not identifying yourself with your face covered up to your eyes with a ball cap on and some sunglasses. That person is going to do something to you that know good and damn well they're an American citizen and they're going to be in the right. Because if you don't identify yourself, I'm not obligated to assume that you are law enforcement.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not obligated to assume nothing except for that my life is in danger. I'm not obligated to assume that you're an ICE agent if you pull up in an unmarked vehicle. Somebody pull up in a whole entire police vehicle with a whole entire police uniform with a gun with all the equipment and assassinated a state representative the other day. I'm not obligated to assume a goddamn thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't have to answer questions. You ain't got to say shit to those people. No. I saw a video of a ostensibly, immigration enforcement person go up to a truck, start pounding on the door, and then just took a nightstick and just smashed the window out. And the driver just was like, "What the fuck?" And then they started snatching people. And they had the right to be there. The guy that's behind all this stuff, Pee Wee German, dime store Himmler, Stephen Miller, is
old.
He has heavily invested like $150,000 or $200,000 in Palantir. Palantir is the Peter Thiel super duper spy network thing that we talked about a few weeks back. So Stephen Miller stands to benefit from mass deportations financially because he's invested into the techno-fascist company run by Peter Thiel, who again thinks that democracy is one of humanity's worst ideas. And he looks like a comic book villain. Him and Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk all look like comic book villains, and Miller. Whereas like Russell Vogt just looks like an accountant from Poughkeepsie, but he is, he's one of the most dangerous people in America. Hey, look who I found. Mm-hmm. Folks, y'all might not know this, but tonight is 1 year of the God Squad pod. And this is episode 50. And we're going to bring in a special little guest here because, he's a founding member and all that. And he's on the T-shirt and everything. Mr. Keith Giles, my friend. Welcome back, sir. Thank you for joining us for a little minute here to help us celebrate 50 episodes and nearly 30,000 downloads in our first year, which ain't too shabby, if I say so myself.
I would agree. I think it's not too bad at all. And congratulations, everybody, on 1 year anniversary of the God Squad. I'm very blessed that I got to be there in the beginning and everything. And it's been great just to see you guys. You keep going. You're bringing on amazing guests. I can't believe it. Every week you guys have somebody new on and I'm like, oh my gosh, how'd they get this person? You guys are doing a great job. And I do miss it once in a while. I love when I get to come back now and again and join you guys. So I just wanted to pop in and say hi. I don't want to interrupt the show or anything, but just say congratulations on the first year. It has been really great growth. I've seen a lot of other podcasts that have been around a lot longer than you guys that aren't even performing as well as the God Squad. So you guys have something special here. And it's amazing. I know you have some great fans and consistent fans who love the show and love everything you guys do. So I know you get, and I see it sometimes too, because I'm on the thread. So, I see, Dillon Desimber, you guys get private messages from people just thanking you guys for the podcast and what you're doing, what you're saying, that it really is helping people. And that's the greatest thing about it. It's knowing that I got to be a part of something and got to help launch something that you guys are continuing to do on a weekly basis that genuinely is giving people hope and sanity. And that's awesome. I'm really, really proud of that. Really proud of you guys. And just wanted to say, keep going. You're doing the Lord's work.
Thank you.
That's right. That's right.
Well, we would not be here if it had not been for you. It was you that started the show on John Fugelsang's Tell Me Everything a year ago. Reached out to me, reached out to Dillon, and asked us, did we want to be part of the show? And the rest is history. Here we are still a year from now. So a year from then. So this is your legacy that's still going, Keith.
But it's funny because it was sort of accidental. You know what I mean? Like, because that first show that we were on together when John Fugelsang Sirius XM, I think we all thought it was just one show, right?
Yeah, I thought it was one show. He said, "Do you want to come back?" And I said, "Yeah, when the second volume of my book comes out." And he goes, "No, like 2 weeks from now." And then he was like, "No, how about every week?"
Yeah.
And so now,
I think at first it was like, come back in 2 weeks, and we did a couple of shows, maybe a couple of shows a month. And then pretty quick, he was like, "Hey, could you do this every week?" And then he was like, "We need a name for this thing. We got to call it something." And we came up with God Squad. And then the rest was history. Then it was like, "Hey, we're doing this every week." And then every time, and John would mention it all the time, that his listeners, it was their favorite part of the show, the week, was the God Squad coming on. He was on that Sexy Liberals tour, and people would meet him after the shows and just talk about how much they love the God Squad. So, that's great. It's really great. The response of the audience was, I think, what really convinced all of us that this was something special and it should kind of go on its own and be its own thing. So, yeah, that's been great.
I get comments all the time from people that say things like, "I'm not religious, I love your podcast," or "I'm an atheist, I love your podcast." And I'm like, I think that's awesome that people who are non-religious or atheist or agnostic or deconstructed Christians or, wherever they fall on the spectrum of religiosity and faith are listening to us because we have something important to say. And also because Desimber Rose is a mic drop specialist. I mean, I'm just the eye candy, but Desimber.
Look, we all know that Desimber is the secret weapon, and the times that Dillon and I have tried to do it without you have just been kind of. I mean, we can make.
It's good, but it's not. It doesn't have that 11 herbs and spices. That's secret recipe thing.
That's exactly what it is. It's that secret recipe that only you can bring, Desimber, and it's awesome.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for your kind words. It has been my pleasure to share this stage with both of you, and I just feel so blessed to be able to hang out with folks who love God but hate the bullshit, who even love Jesus but cuss a little. You want people that are, I feel like this is my tribe. You know what I'm saying? I feel like you guys are my brothers, and everybody that watches the show, I feel like y'all are my brothers and sisters. So shout out to all those who have been tuning in regularly from day one. Shout out to all those that are tuning in now. Thank you. Let me say special thanks to Judy, Tracy, John. Who else is on here today? Sally is on here today. Lisa. Who else?
John Suarez was on.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of regular folks that are faithful, and we appreciate that. We appreciate your faithfulness to the show. I looked up the stats for podcasts in their first year, and there's a lot of data out there. Who knows how reliable it is, but it said that if you get a first year show, if you can get about 10,000 downloads every 6 months, you're doing pretty good. So I feel like at almost 30,000 downloads for our first year, I'm like, hey, yay, that's not bad. Thank you, Tracy. She said, I love the show. So that's, saying a lot that we, a lot about your vision that you had when you got us on here, Keith, the topics, the way that this show has been shaped, and just putting it out, being real, being raw, being authentic to what we believe and what we ain't gonna stand for. I think a lot of people appreciate that. As far as a couple interesting stats about our show that you might be interested to know is, of course, about 95% of our viewership, our viewer and listenership does come from the United States. Our downloads come from the United States, but Canada is our number 2. So we love you, Canada, who will never, ever, 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 ever be the 51st state of the United States. We appreciate and your sovereignty, our Maple Mighty brothers and sisters, and then after that it's Australia, the United Kingdom, and Mexico round out our top 5 or 6 there. So it's just interesting to see where people tune in from. We got folks from Belgium, we got folks from Taiwan, we got folks from South Africa. You know what I'm saying? It's always amazing to me the reach that you're able to have with something like this. The internet is a wonderful thing when you use it right. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, that's right. It is amazing. Yeah, I'm always amazed too that that people listen outside, especially for something like this, because what we're talking about is so specifically about American politics. But I will say, I know that people in Canada and the UK and Australia, I have friends in Australia that have told me like they get the news, and their news is probably 50% what crazy thing Trump did. Right. So the world is watching with horror, probably.
Yeah.
Probably. But I'm always surprised to see where people, we got Switzerland. There's just so many places that are tuning in. Ireland. I know we had a guy call in one time from Ireland. I loved his accent.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I haven't seen him in a while. Shout out to you wherever you are, brother from Ireland that used to call in sometimes. Folks from the Netherlands. We even got downloads from Saudi Arabia, which surprised the hell out of me. But I'm just so glad.
We might be on a list.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just so glad about our reach and that we're able to do this. I count it as a blessing. Thank you, Keith, for dropping in, and thank you for getting us started on this road to the God Squad. One day we might be on a stage somewhere doing a live show, and you're gonna have to grace the stage. Okay.
Listen, if that ever happens, yes, I will be there. I'll be there for the live show, and I'm gonna start. I'm not kidding. I'm actually gonna do this. You ever heard people do these vision boards? Where you put vision board. I've never done that before, but I think I'm gonna try it, and just that'll be one of the things on the vision board. My dream for the God Squad is one day I think there's no reason why. Like, I think you guys could be on Sirius XM, have your own Sirius XM show. And I definitely think there could be a live show that we do, maybe a couple of shows in the summer or something like that, or the fall. That would be a lot of fun. And if anybody listening wants to help us with that, you have a production company, you're a promoter, a publicist, or you work at Sirius XM and you want to talk to the right people and drop a bug in their ear, let us know, because I think that's the potential. I think really that's where the God Squad can grow, and I'd love to see that happen. So one day might happen.
Make it happen. John Suarez tickled me. He said, "You mean angels from other countries are listening to your podcast? Paula White would be burning jealous." Lord,
those angels from Africa finally showed up.
They're a little late, but they made it. That's good. That's hilarious.
So the download count as of right now is 29,856. Thank you all so much. As Keith and I were chatting backstage after the show last week, he said, and this was really a really cool thing for him to say, that's a big church.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Yeah.
That's a big church. And
think about it. Yeah. If you think about it like that, think about it like imagine if you had a church with 29,000 people in it, right? And that's who you're reaching. Like, you guys are reaching thousands and thousands of people with this podcast. And many of them have said this is their church.
Right. Yes. Yeah. True story.
And we've had people message us and say the same, that they've left church, but they enjoy this podcast. And what's up? We got Matthew D. Stefan. What's your name?
I know.
Stefano is in the house.
I want you to try to say it.
Lord, I don't know why the syllables won't get right in my mouth today, but Matt from Happy Woods Farm is in the house.
What's going on? Hey, if I had a church of 50,000 or 100,000, I'd be rich. What are you talking about?
Well, only if you can figure out how to pass the plate. This is the problem with virtual stuff, is like, how do you pass the plate? And it doesn't work. But that's the only problem. Otherwise, you have the people, you have their attention, and they love you, and they appreciate what you do. And what we've been asking on Heretic Happy Hour, Matt and I's podcast, and it started to work, I think. We've started asking people every episode. We say each one reach one. Like, if you liked this podcast, share it with one person this week. A person, a friend that that if they would listen to it, they would get a kick out of it and they would enjoy it. And it must be working, because we've noticed our numbers over the last couple of months going up. And that's all we're doing different, really, is asking people to share it with friends. So I'd say the same thing for the God Squad audience. If you like this podcast, please consider every week share a link with some friend of yours.
Do you want this starving dog to be able to eat?
This dog. Poor dog.
Yeah. John Suarez said we need a God Squad meme coin.
We've already got the graphic. We got the graphic. We just now need the.
I don't know. Yeah. Judy said our pass the plate is like and share. Yes, like and share.
That's right. Like and share, subscribe, tell your friends. and get politically active. That's another thing that you can do to show your appreciation for the show is get out there.
And while since we got Matt on there, I want to just give a shout out and say thank you to Matt. He is our brother producer who helped start this show off, and he produced all of our shows for a long time, just up until recently, actually. And so we just love you, Matt. We thank you. We appreciate your sacrifice. He loads our shows every week to all the right places for us. So without him, we also would not be existing. So we are grateful.
I'm like Thanos. I'll snap my fingers and shut this shit down.
Yeah, the devil is a lie. The devil is a lie. We going on and on and on till the break of dawn, to the early morning. You know what I'm saying? But we appreciate Matt. Matt has also been a guest on the show for multiple episodes and fills in from time to time. What you got going on back there? You got a little fur baby back there. Okay.
Well, I have a border collie, and it's only right that I have a farm with a border collie, and she's obsessed. So
there you go.
I'll kick out. Go on. Do something else.
She's like, I'm doing something else.
That dog loves you. That dog loves you. There's no way that dog's going away.
No, I know.
Yes. So
hey, I'm excited. 50 episodes in 1 year, right? Like, this is exciting.
Yeah. And that does not include our spotlights. That this is just 50, our 50 weekly episodes.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool, I think. That means every week we're putting out good content and good information that news you can use, and highlighting the fundamentalist fuckwittery, which we're going to do here in a minute. But
and you guys want to do that. Like, I just wanted to jump in and say hi. I don't want to take your show off in the other direction. Just want to say hi, congratulations, and if you guys want to, I'll bump off. You guys can keep on with what you had planned for the show.
Okay. Well, before they go, let us promote you just a little bit. Listen, if you have not gotten the books that these amazing gentlemen have written, you need to go get them. You might not know that Matthew DeStefano is our resident Hobbit specialist and connoisseur. So you want to get his book, The Wisdom of the Hobbits. Is that what's the correct title? Okay.
The Wisdom of Hobbits. You got it close enough.
You got it.
Yeah, The Wisdom of Hobbits. It's about permaculture and hobbits.
He actually got an endorsement. I'm going to call it an endorsement from the Seal Tolkien Society. What is the society that endorsed that book?
Yeah, the Tolkien Society. I'm your resident nerd.
It's pretty legit.
So amazing. Also, How Not to Be a Dick is another one, and he has a couple good books out there you might want to get. And Keith Giles is like the writing superstar of choir. No one can keep up with this guy. I'm not sure he sleeps. I'm not even sure he's human. We got surveillance on him.
Jury is out.
I don't know. But Keith Giles, he has so many good books. The entire Jesus Unseries you need to check out. The most recent one is the Quantum Sayings of Mary, I believe. Yeah. And the one before that is the Quantum Sayings of Jesus, I believe. Right.
But you know what? I got to also jump in and say I got to pitch a book that actually all four of us had something to do with. It just came out this week, right?
Yesterday, day before yesterday.
Yeah. The Unchristian Truth About White Christian Nationalism. The forward is by Lisa Sharon Harper, who is a rock star, and it's a great forward. I just did editing and helped, pull it together. But December Rose, Dillon Desimber, and Matthew DeStefano all have chapters in this book. And many other people. We have people that are gay and queer and trans and incredible people. Also old white guys as well, who are allies. But talking about white Christian nationalism and Project 2025 and the danger of it. And it's a great book. It's already #1 in multiple categories on Amazon. And I think anyone that loves the God Squad would love that book. So go check that book out right now. It's on Amazon.
Yeah, and my boy Jesse Dollamore just gave it a shout out. So what's up to him?
Oh, nice. By the way, coming up, here's a little sneak peek. You guys don't even know this because I just talked to John Fugelsang about this afternoon. There's an upcoming episode of John Fugelsang's Sirius XM Radio where we will be on to promote specifically the Unchristian Truth About White Christian Nationalism. So it'll be a special edition of John Fugelsang's show. We'll all be on there and we'll talk about the book. So that'll be fun.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, y'all.
Coming up. All right. So love you guys.
Love you too, guys. Thank y'all for getting us started.
Congrats.
And keeping us going.
Keep going, guys.
Yeah. Do your thing.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Keith and Matt, everybody. Well, it has reached that time for the fundamentalist fuckwittery of the week. And this week, it is brought to you by Illinois Congressional Representative and Christo-fascist Mary Miller. Now, Mary is the kind of person who, after she was sworn in, and she was sworn in on a date that lives in the infamous history of the United States, January 6, 2021, she decided that the thing to do in her speech after getting sworn in was speak words of praise about Hitler's youth program. One thing that Hitler got right, she said, was that he had the youth. And then she tried to walk it back like she didn't mean what she said, that she didn't mean to praise Hitler. But
Mean to do.
there are lots of ways that you could talk about how Hitler used the youth without making it sound anything like you are praising that genocidal motherfucker. Now, recently, she had this to say, and for those who can't see it, this is a tweet from Mary Miller, a congressman in the United States of America who apparently doesn't know what the Constitution says or is or means. And she said, "It is deeply troubling that a Muslim was allowed to lead prayer in the House of Representatives this morning. This should never have been allowed to happen. America was founded as a Christian nation, and I believe our government should reflect that truth, not drift further from it. May God have mercy." Well, the unfortunate thing for Mary is that the gentleman in question is a Sikh, not a Muslim. And chaplains of various stripes open Congress with prayer. Why? Because we have the separation of church and state that says that you cannot privilege one faith over the other. You cannot privilege one faith over the other. Even you can't privilege one kind of Christianity over the other, much less say that Christianity, that we were founded as a Christian nation. Now, this is the kind of stupid nonsense that has been debunked over and over and over again, but apparently she must be a fan of David Barton, who peddles that nonsense with his wall builder stuff, because in the clip that I'm going to show, or that you're going to hear, that's the show that she's on. So this is Mary Miller talking about Pride Month.
Psalm 18, and sadly, the left hijacked June to, present perversion, to cause gender confusion, and basically to give license for individuals to be indecent in public. And I'm taking it back for the American family.
Okay, so let's just break that down a little bit. You support a man who in public said that he likes to grab them by the you-know-whats, and that he likes to walk in on naked teenage girls because he owns the pageant, so he gets to do that sort of thing. And you are conflating, Mary Miller, being homosexual with being a groomer. All you need to do, Mary, is to go groom pastor, sex offender. See what happens.
Go search.
You want to talk about grooming? And quit misappropriating that word. That word has a very specific meaning. And people like Chris Rufo, that fascist, I can't even hardly talk about that, who intentionally spreads disinformation and misinformation, has co-opted that word. People like him have co-opted that word to make it sound like any person who's gay is going to turn your kid gay. And gender confusion, I've said it a million times, there have been trans people for millennia, and they are revered in multiple cultures. There's nobody, I'm persuasive, I'm a good public speaker, I'm even reasonably, I'm reasonably talented, but I can't convince anybody to be gay, lesbian, or trans because that's not how that shit works.
It's not contagious.
It ain't contagious. I watched John Inman on Are You Being Served, and I didn't turn gay. Didn't happen. I watched The Birdcage with Robin Williams and oh shit, what's his name? The other dude that's in it.
I don't remember his name, but I love him too.
Yeah. My brain just went shut off. So
Dennis Forrest said, "Can you convince me to be cis, please?" Unfortunately,
I've said it before. At times of dating drought, if it was a choice, I could just set up a Grindr profile, and I would have me a date. Like if it was a choice,
a lot of women wouldn't be dating men if it was a choice.
That's right. That's right.
If so, was a bear, they'll certainly choose another woman if they could. I promise you, they would.
I looked up Mary Miller, some of her voting record, and this year she voted no on HR 2483. Now, this bill would reauthorize funds for the Department of Health and Human Services to help people who were struggling with mental health issues, substance abuse disorder issues, houselessness, and so on. And she voted no. This included substance abuse with respect to pregnant and postpartum women, prevention and recovery from substance use disorders for kids, housing for individuals in recovery for substance use disorders, community organizations facilitating recovery from substance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And all of that stuff sounds like pretty pro-life to me.
Yeah.
But she wants to pretend to be pro-life, and then she does that kind of thing. She also had this to say, where the hell is it? I was proud to cast my vote in support of President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill. This legislation delivers on the America First agenda that a majority of Americans support. No, they don't. It ensures illegals are stripped of federal SNAP benefits, enforces common sense work requirements for Medicaid, invests in mass deportation efforts, cuts taxes on tips and overtime, and dismantles Biden radical New Deal policies. The House has done its job. Now the Senate must act quickly. Folks, the Green New Deal ain't a thing. It's not a piece of legislation. These are ideas that have been posited to prevent planetary fucking disaster on the only habitable planet humanity currently has. And you notice that she used dehumanizing language about undocumented immigrants and talking about how they're on SNAP benefits and whatnot. This woman chooses to be reprehensible on purpose. I looked up some of her voting stuff, and the John Birch Society gave her 100% rating. Y'all go Google the John Birch Society. It's a white supremacist organization. The AFL-CIO, on the other hand, gave her a 0. So she's not for the working people, but she is for the white supremacist. Yeah. And for all of those reasons, Congresswoman Mary Miller is this week's representative of fundamentalist fuckwittery. And Mary, if you want to focus on the family and all that kind of crap like you just talked about, you don't cut SNAP benefits for families. You don't take away programs that are going to help the poor. You don't shuffle the wealth from the poor and middle class up to the obscenely wealthy. But that's who you are, Mary. And I think Jesus is going to have quite a talking to with you if you ever meet him. I can't stand people like her. Disingenuous, lying, Hitler-praising, fascist fuckwittery.
All of the above.
All of the above.
All of the above, honey. All of the above. Thank you for informing us about this clown. Sally Caulfield says she deserves this dishonor. Yes, she does. Yes, she does. She deserves it. I don't understand these folks, and they call themselves Christian,
right?
But they don't lead with love. I don't know how you can lead with hate, lead with bigotry, lead with xenophobia, lead with homophobia, lead with racism, and then have Christ's name in your mouth. I don't understand that. But yet, we're here. We're here every day of the week with this foolishness. But there is, I want to give some good news. I want to shout out.
Oh, good.
I want to shout out who I hope is mayor-elect, but right now is the winner of the Democratic primary.
Yes.
Zoran Kwame Mamdani. Hopefully I'm saying his name right. There's a video that I want to play that I believe is the reason why the right and also the what do you want to call it? The mainstream Democrats on the left, or what do you the
white moderates,
establishment Democrats, I'll call them, are speaking out, and I'm glad about it. I'm here for them. So I want to show this video. I'm so proud of this young man. I only really became aware of him recently. He's only 33. It looks like we're about to have someone jump on here for a moment. I thought John was jumping in there, so I don't know if he pops in again. We'll see what happens. He's only 33. He beat Andrew Cuomo, who I'm so glad, because I feel like if Andrew Cuomo would have won, that would have been a slap in the face to all the women that he has sexually harassed.
Yeah.
To, you know what I'm saying, and would have seeked to delegitimize them. And I believe he would have also used his office to quiet those ongoing lawsuits and stuff against him, and use the power of the purse of that state also to do that. And so I am glad that he lost for their sake as well. Because it's only in a misogynistic world where you could have all these cases against you, women brought all these charges against you, multiple women, and someone still looks at you as, I want you to be my leader.
Yeah,
I don't get
it's
it.
ridiculous.
From Trump all the way down. It's crazy. I don't understand it, but it's there. But I want to show this video, which I think is amazing. I think he's amazing. And I think this is the America dream personified to me. And this is what they're so afraid of. This is why they're snatching people off the streets in mass, and why they're doing this cruelty is the point bullshit that they're doing, because of this right here. So let me show you this, and show you on the other side what people are saying about this man.
My name is Zoran Kwame Mamdani. I'm a state assembly member representing Astoria and Long Island City. I was born in Kampala, Uganda, East Africa. Came to this city at the age of 7 and grew up here. And I was given my middle name Kwame by my father. And in 1962, Uganda won its independence from the British. The United States government gave the Ugandan government a gift of 23 scholarships to celebrate that independence. And my father won one of those scholarships. He came to this country to study to become an engineer at the University of Pittsburgh. And sometime into his studies, he heard words reverberate in the corridor around him. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? These were words being asked by members of SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. They were recruiting students to get on the bus to go to Montgomery, Alabama. And my father got on that bus. He marched. He was hosed down. He was thrown in jail. And he was given one phone call. And he called the Ugandan ambassador to the United States. He said, "Can you get me out of prison?" The ambassador said, "What are you doing in prison? We sent you there to study." And my father told him, "You sent me here as a gift for our freedom. They are fighting for theirs. It's one and the same." And so I stand here before you as a candidate for mayor, running on a very simple message. It's time New Yorkers can afford their own city. We have a president in this country who thinks of himself as a king. It is important to remind him and everyone that there are no kings in this country. And there are no kings in this city either. We deserve a mayor who will lead, but who understands that to lead is to serve. Thank you so much. My name is Zoran Kwame Mamdani. My name.
That was powerful.
Yeah, it was.
Wasn't that powerful?
I did not know that about his father and his middle name. I wonder if his middle name is from Kwame Nkrumah, who was from Ghana. I think was the first elected president after they got their independence, but I could be wrong.
I am not sure, but he definitely comes from a history of political activism. His father, I'm just read this real quick. He was Zaram was born 5 years after his father had returned to Kampala. This is Uganda from exile in 1986. 2 years earlier, Mahmoud became stateless. This is his father after the government of Milton Obote revoked his Ugandan citizenship while he was attending a conference in Dakar in response to his outspoken criticism of its policies. So even his father was a firebrand. He was initially expelled in 1972 by the Ugandan president Idi Amin due to his Indian ethnicity. So it says Mahmoud carried the scars of rupture, experiences that shaped Zaran's upbringing and gave him an intimate grasp of what it means to be politically homeless and how to resist it. This is care of the AfricanReport.com. So I just have so much respect. And as it concerns his middle name, you're right. His middle name, Kwame, pays homage to Kwame Nkrumah, the Ghanaian revolutionary and Pan-Africanist. Is that who you're referring to?
Yep.
So it's a nod to the anti-colonial values instilled by his parents and a symbolic thread linking his politics to Africa's freedom struggle. So that is where he got his middle name. I am just so proud. I didn't know the brother was African. Let me first say that. So I am doubly proud of this Indian Ugandan man, Indian Ugandan American man. And now because of his victory, because of his unapologetic stance toward injustice, toward racism, against xenophobia, against all those things. He's got all these people coming out against him. It was just posted in the news that GOP representative is calling for him to be denaturalized. If you can believe that. Representative
I can believe it.
Ogles or Ogles, I'm not sure. It's probably Ogles.
Andy Ogles from Tennessee. That guy's a Nazi.
Yeah. He's calling for him to be denaturalized because he's saying that there is some lyric in a rap lyric that he had that makes him some type of terrorist or something like that. I'm like, these people need to get a whole entire grip. Apparently, in one of Mamdani's lyrics, which I didn't know he was an artist, but that's awesome too. He said, "Free the Holy Land 5, my guys," and the Holy Land, which was referring to the Holy Land Foundation for Relief and Development, and had some people convicted there that were accused of funding Hamas, but there's no proof of that.
Right.
No, that we know of. And so his whole thing, these people were helping. This group was helping the Palestinians, and so they try to criminalize and uproot everything out of Gaza that was helping the Palestinians, including U.S. aid and everybody else. Everybody's having a hard time getting there to help the Palestinians. So of course they're going to criminalize the group that was there doing that. Anyways, that's free speech. He cannot be denaturalized for saying what he said, and that he there's no way in God's green earth he was referring to helping Hamas. But they're trying to demonize him, and you already know why. Because they can't control him. Because he's not an establishment Democrat. And then you got who I used to have respect for, but he can kick rocks, is Chris Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo's brother that used to be on CNN.
Yeah.
Comes out and says that the Democratic Party is dead. I know the Democratic Party is coming alive, is what's really happening. Because people are tired of the bullshit on both sides, to be honest. And I think that Mamdani is the future. I think that Mamdani represents everything that the Republicans are afraid of and everything that the Democrats have tried to control and keep at bay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I believe that there is middle ground there where the old guard could work with the new guard to usher us forward. There should be. I wish that there was. I hope that maybe there will be. But I'm going to tell you what, this wave is coming. This wave is coming, and I think we're going to see more of it as we lead up to the 2028 election. We're definitely going to see more of it as we lead up to the 2026 election. But I think we're going to see more of this as we lead up to the 2028 election, where people are rejecting the old school Democrats and definitely in the hell rejecting Republicans altogether. But they're rejecting that. Why would the establishment put all their weight behind a sexual offender and a man who resigned in scandal anyway? Why would you do that anyway? You got to ask yourself that. You really got to ask yourself that. John Suarez says that they are targeting him for being Muslim. Yes, he is getting all kind of threats and death threats and all kind of stuff. And a democratic socialist, like how they use Obama's middle name against him and accusing him of being a secret Muslim. That's what they do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what they do. They otherize and don't take things for 1 minute just because he's a Democrat or because there are Democrats that they won't otherize him. Democrats do it too.
Oh,
They did it during Jim Crow. They'll do it today. They do it too. Don't get it twisted. There might be less racists in the Democratic Party, but there's racists in the Democratic Party too.
Oh, yeah.
And there's fake allies in the Democratic Party that front like they are for us. And by us, I mean the marginalized, not just racial minorities. But the motive is not righteous. The motive is not righteous. And they think they're entitled to our votes, too. Salih said a clear difference between the GOP and Dems is needed, and Mamdani represents that. Yes, I do believe he does. What are your thoughts on that, on Mamdani's victory? So shout out to New York. Y'all came out for him in the heat. Y'all came out for him. Y'all beat Cuomo. I am glad. I, for one, am glad. I'm not a New Yorker, but hey, I'm celebrating with you all because I feel like it's a victory for all New Yorkers. And I feel like Mamdani is not just going to speak about making New York affordable. He's actually going to do it. I believe Andrew Cuomo used that as a talking point. But if you were going to do it, why the hell didn't you do it when you were in there the first time?
Right. Yeah, you had all that opportunity.
You didn't do it. And now you're saying you're going to do it while Bloomberg is writing you checks, while the establishment is propping you up. If you were going to do it, you'd have been dumb damn did it. Okay?
Yeah.
It's just a talking point, and it didn't work this time. The people saw through it, and I'm glad. What do you think?
Well, the Islamophobia has been off the charts already. And Charlie Kirk said something to the effect of, this is what happens when when migration is out of control and immigration is out of control. Because Charlie Kirk is a white supremacist, Christo-fascist. So
Mamdani is the worst nightmare.
Yeah. And then was it Don Trump Jr. who was like, somebody said we need to get Giuliani to run against him because, of 9/11. And they're conflating all people who are Muslim with the very specific Muslim people who were from Saudi Arabia,
right?
Who is, one of our biggest allies, and not just Islam, broadly speaking, right? They have a very specific brand of Islam in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, where they behead people and cut people's hands off and all that kind of weirdness. Horrific human rights abuses. And I've already seen that they're talking about billionaires are trying to get, they're going to start throwing money because at the race, because they don't want him to get elected. Now, if the rich people are really freaking the fuck out, well, good. Billionaires shouldn't exist. There are no good billionaires. They should not exist. You cannot hoard that much wealth with this much wealth inequality and this much human suffering on the planet right now and call yourself a good person. But he's talking about rent control in a place where you can't hardly afford to live, and making things affordable so that people can live. And I don't know who needs to hear this. Poor people can't just get up and move. It's expensive to move. So it's not like they can just exit New York because it's too expensive. They just have to find a way to claw and scrape and get by. And he's trying to make it so that more people don't have to claw and scrape to get by. And democratic socialism is not the same thing as socialism. He's not talking about seizing the means of production and no private property and all that stuff. That's not what this is. But anything that looks like regulation or taxing the rich, establishment Dems get twisted about it, and Republicans get super twisted about it.
Super twisted. Especially when you're talking about freezing rent, because the rent is completely, utterly ridiculous. They want you to be paying $2,000 for a desk so you can live in a damn closet, literally.
Yeah.
So he's talking about freezing the rent. He's talking about constructing over 200,000 affordable homes over the next decade. He's talking about eliminating fares on city buses. You know, that is a big deal for people trying to get to and from work, to and from school. So he is advocating for making the entire bus system fare-free permanently. I think that would be amazing. He's talking about affordable childcare. He's proposing free childcare for all New Yorkers aged 6 to 5 years old. This includes providing baby baskets to new parents with necessities like diapers, wipes, and educational resources. Other countries that are not even wealthy as our country does this. Okay, I don't understand why we can't do it. City-owned grocery stores. He's talking about establishing city-owned grocery stores in each borough to provide residents with affordable, healthy food options. I know they can't stand that. He's talking about, of course, taxing the wealthy to fund these affordability initiatives. This is why they don't like him. They don't like him because he's for the people, period. After they don't like how he looks, after they don't like his name, after they don't like the fact that he's a child of immigrants, after they don't like the fact that he has succeeded, they don't like him because he's for the people.
Yeah.
And what God is that anyone who's truly for the people, they cannot stand.
Yeah. Well, God protect that man, and I hope he gets elected to that position, and Eric Adams never sees the mayor's office again. But congratulations, New York.
Congratulations, New York. You guys did it. You turned out. Congratulations. Now, do we have any other good news before we get to the good word that you got for us, the word on the street?
Well, we talked about it a little bit. The God Squad Pod is 1 year old, and we're on episode 50, and we're bringing the word to the people, and I think we're doing a fine job of it. And there's just more and more pushback. There's more and more pushback. I heard Heather Cox Richardson today, just before I came upstairs to get ready for the show, saying that, Donald Trump's actions are getting him in a lot of trouble. And she was saying that some people are saying to just kind of let him fuck himself.
Yeah.
Beyond all, until his whole administration regime is FUBAR. And there's some validity in that. So he is doing so many stupid things that people are finally starting to get it.
They're waking up.
They're waking up. So that's good news. It'll be even better news when people like Stephen Miller are at The Hague for crimes against humanity.
I don't know if
I pray that we see that. Yeah.
I don't know if that'll happen, but I'll just take them being at office. Becky Payne says it's hard to believe it's been a year. Yes, it has been a whole year. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for being faithful, watching the God Squad live. It has been a whole year. 50 episodes in, almost 30,000 downloads. We are in, I don't know how many countries. It's an amazing thing, and we're glad that you all have been along for the ride. So what's the word on the street as we get ready to wind it up, Dillon?
Well, the word on the street comes from the book of Proverbs. I'm going to read you 3 verses from 3 different chapters. And this is in response to all of the ostensibly Christian Republicans who are throwing their weight behind the big bogus boondoggle, as I call it. They call it a big beautiful bill. I call it a big bogus boondoggle.
Sounds better to me. I think that's more accurate.
I mean, it's a lot more accurate.
Yeah.
So Proverbs 22:16, these are all New Revised Standard Version updated edition, folks. Oppressing the poor in order to enrich oneself and giving to the rich will only lead to loss. May it be so. Proverbs 28:27, whoever gives to the poor will lack nothing, but one who turns a blind eye will get many a curse. Oh, please, Lord, please. And Proverbs 29:7 says, the righteous know the rights of the poor, the wicked have no such understanding. And Mamdani seems to be a righteous man because he knows the rights of the poor. And that is the word on the street.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Well, listen, it's that time, y'all. Time for us to say goodnight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for helping us to get our viewership up. Like, share, subscribe, tell somebody and tell somebody, tell them to tell somebody else. Thank you for being faithful to this show. Thank you for trusting us with your time. I don't take it for granted that you spend an hour and 15 minutes or whatever it is with us. Time is precious. Thank you for lending your time to us. Thank you for your journey, sharing your journeys with us. A lot of y'all have shared your journeys with us. We received messages from you in our DMs and stuff like that, which you sharing how you've enjoyed the show. Whatever your stripe is, whether you're deconstructing, whether you're walking in the faith, walking in the church, whether you're agnostic, atheist, or Wiccan, or Catholic, or Protestant, or Lutheran, or anywhere in between, or fuck all of them folks. I ain't with none of that bullshit. Whatever you are, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. Keep listening, keep watching. We're only going up from here. Hopefully this time next year, we're at 30,000, just about at our 1 year mark. I hope we could be at 100,000 this time next year. Who knows? The sky is the limit, and that even is not the limit. Let's see how far we can go. Okay. Anything you got as we get on out of here, Dillon?
Well, I just want to say that I do love to hear from viewers, listeners. So if you feel like reaching out on social media, just to say hey, or to say thank you, or to ask a theological question, please do. Because sometimes, despite knowing what the numbers are and all that stuff, because shit is hard right now, it can feel like we're just shouting into the void.
Yes.
And I know that we are not, but sometimes I need that little bit of encouragement, to keep going, because fascism is exhausting and Christo-fascist fuckwittery is exhausting. Mm-hmm. But y'all give me hope. Our listeners, our friends, give me hope. So if you feel like reaching out, please do. Love to hear from you. And keep on listening, like, subscribe, and share, and all that good fun stuff.
All right. You'll be back here next week. Wednesdays, we are live with John Fuqua saying, Tell Me Everything on Sirius XM, Progress 127, Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be back here with the God Squad Live, Dillon and Desimber, right here on the God Squad Live Thursdays, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So look, tell a friend, share, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next time, love, peace, and chicken grease to y'all motherfuckers. Thank you for tuning in. We do love y'all. Tell somebody about the show. All right. And by the book, the unchristian nature of white Christian nationalism, whatever our book is called.
The unchristian truth about white Christian nationalism. It's a mouthful. It is a mouthful.
Y'all get the book. Go get the book. All right. Take care.